Hey, what is up, everybody? I don't know why I started like that. That's fucking stupid. What's up, everybody? It's me, Brent Mukai, voice actor, improv trainer, entertainer. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Brent Mukai podcast. I am here this week telling you all right now that I fucking suck. Like this whole week, I have just sucked at doing the shit that I need to do. Like I'm jumping right in because it's been a fail week. Like it was just, I'm gonna move this mic. It was a fail week. Like you know, like when you know what you need to do and you don't do it, and you're just like, holy shit, like I fucked up and I failed, and you feel bad. That's kind of the week that I've had. The week got away from me, and I didn't do a lot of the shit that I know that I need to do. I didn't audition as much as I should have. I think I got maybe 10 in for the whole week, which is ridiculous, which is stupid, which there's no reason to do that. I'm saying this, but I'm also saying this with a point in mind. So let me back up. I have been working on different things this week. It's been very interesting. It's been a very interesting week because I didn't get a lot of the shit that I wanted to get done this week. However, I've been learning a lot. It's been a week of learning shit. It's been a week of trying new shit. It hasn't. What I'm learning now, right? As I'm going through this journey of starting my voiceover business, of starting my a new business. For those of you who haven't heard before, I'm starting a new business doing corporate training stuff. Like I've done corporate training, but now I'm putting like an actual concentrated effort into getting more corporate training work with a buddy of mine that I also do corporate training with. And he taught me basically everything I know. Well, not everything I know, but he taught me. He was my original mentor of improv and my original mentor of how to teach, because I think that he's skilled at both. And the two of us now, we've been working together for like 10 plus years. We've teamed up, and we're saying that we can go and do some shit. We can go and really make some money doing some corporate training stuff. So we have a woman who's doing sales for us, trying to, send out the cold emails, cold calls, and get us some actual work in that, right? So in that, I met, I've known this girl for a while now. I've known this separate girl for a while at the from the voice actor studio where I teach. I might have her on the podcast, honestly, because she's very interesting. But she works as an internal corporate trainer and e-learning specialist at a company in town. So it's all of it's internal. She wouldn't be outsourcing stuff, but I sat her down and I wanted to talk with her. So we met up on Halloween, and we are going to basically discussed e-learning, how it works, the people that I should be targeting. A lot of good stuff for voiceover stuff. For those of you who don't know what e-learning is, it's more of the corporate narration type stuff. Like if you've ever had a job where they require you to sit down and do training videos and there's a person talking, that's e-learning. And the thing with e-learning is they're long form styles of media, so it takes a while to do, but they pay really well because they're corporations. Typically, of course, this is all like typically they pay really well because they're big corporations. But so it was very advantageous for me to sit down with her. As we started talking, we really started getting more into also training and that whole field of corporate training, because that's what she does. And what I found out is that there's a whole slew of people that are looking for a different style of training with improv corporate training. And that's exactly what I do. That's my specialty. That's been the whole thing that I've been doing. Like I fucking love teaching in any capacity, pushing on knowledge. And so it's been really, really cool uh to have that opportunity to do that, to have people actually trust me and like the way that I teach. I teach from a very fun perspective where I basically get everybody up on their feet. We play some improv games, and I show them how improv kind of correlates to whatever it is that they're doing. Because at the base core, improv teaches us not only about performance, right? That's where a lot of people think it comes from, but it teaches about teamwork. It teaches about listening. It teaches about communication, spontaneity, confidence, self-awareness, all of these fantastic tools. So it's like I'm doing these exercises, right? But really the whole goal is for me to show people through these exercises stuff about themselves so that they can kind of take their own meanings from the exercises themselves. I'm giving them and I'm feeding them information, of course. I'm not just playing the exercises and saying nothing. It's all very directed and all very specific, but they can draw the conclusions themselves from the way that I teach. So that's the ultimate goal for me, is to have fun, number one, because I think when people are having fun and laughing and it's a good time and they feel energy coming out, which is what I offer and what I give, I think that ultimately is how people learn best. So yeah, I got a chance to sit down with this awesome woman and we just shot the shit and we just talked about training, talked about e-learning. So I have some good tools, some good information. This past Saturday, went and had a big Halloween party thrown by the woman and the husband-wife combo that owns the Voice Actors Studio where I will be teaching actually improv and voiceover, and how improv relates to voiceover tonight, which I'm super excited about. I have my whole lesson planned. I have my whole lesson plan written out. And I'm trying some new shit. A lot of times I can just kind of autopilot it, but I'm trying something new where I'm really giving a concentrated effort into specifically going into what I need to go into so that I can try new things, try new exercises, invent some new things, because I want to ultimately turn it around and teach these exercises to people who are in voiceover, because I think that there's a lot of cool improv exercises that can be done alone in a booth that will help out for voiceover. So I want to share those once I've worked out a lot of the kinks to them. So yeah, it's been I did not get a lot done this week. But yeah, I went to that party on Saturday. It was a fun ass time, just one of the best parties of all time, and I'm so grateful and so appreciative to be a part of the family of the Voice Actors Studio. I mean, shit, I got the if you're watching this on YouTube, I have their sign up there that they gave me that I was like, oh hell yeah, and I knew I wanted to put it up somewhere where it could be seen when I do these podcasts, and I'm so lucky and I'm so blessed to have that community, to have people that are, going to be having my back. I mentioned before that I'm going to be going to that big conference, and I'm excited for that because I'm going to have people there that can introduce me to other people. I already have a whole community of people around me that are also helping and supporting me in one way or another. So that's what it is. I mean, people like to ask me a lot of times, if we ever get into talks about success or what how it's possible to achieve what you want to achieve. I think a community and finding people like-minded and that are trying to do the same thing as you or doing it the same thing as you, doing what you already love. I think that it's just surrounding yourself with those people, and those people ultimately lift you up and also are able to empathize with you when you have a shitty week I've had just a shit week by standards. And I part of it is I've felt a little under the weather. Another part of it is I just let the week get away from me. I did things that I shouldn't have fucking done. I played some games. I played some what is it? Magic the Gathering Online, which I said that I was going to stop, and I erased, and I re-uploaded it a time ago. I hadn't played it for a month, And I just had this urge this week, and then I let that get away from me. So I was like, fuck, did that. Then, compounded with that, I started watching a new series on Netflix, and I let that kind of take precedence because, I watched the first few episodes, and then it was Haunting of Hill House, which, phenomenal show. If you like scary movies, if you like scary series, if you like the whole, like, The Ring and The Grudge and all that shit, like, this one is playing all of the hits. But it's done so well, and cinematically, I think it's one of the better fucking horror things that I've ever seen. So the acting, especially from that standpoint, I can super appreciate. And there is an episode 6, that is mind-blowing. If you know anything about film, the way that they shoot it is mind-blowing. So yeah, I let the week get away from me. I did this to myself, and I still went and worked out. I still did all of my other shit. I've been busy. I've been doing the high school improv league. I did that, and that got away from me because, then I had to go drive, and I teach at 2 schools, and I love the kids, and I love doing it. But at the same time, it's like, next year I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I'm starting to get a self-awareness about myself that the more that I plan and the more things that I have disrupting my day, the less that I'm able to do. So, I mean, yeah, and then Wednesday, also before the meeting with the girl who's a corporate trainer and all that stuff, I sat down and talked with a place in town called Hollywood Access. And they have, like, a ton of talent, I guess, that are looking for classes. And they were looking for a voice acting coach. I spoke today with the owner of the voice actor studio and said, hey, I want to check in with you and see if this is okay. They said no, but that's okay, because in the hour and a half talk that we had over at Hollywood Access, we discussed other things and other backgrounds that I've had. And in exploring it and in talking about it, like, it's weird how much I forget on a basis, like, how much, like, fucking work and shit that I've done, actually. Like to toot my own horn and shit and be like, whoa, I'm so fucking talented. It's not. I've worked a lot. I've done a lot of different shit, and I feel like that's given me a huge advantage in the creative sphere. And now that I've played around in a lot of the different creative spheres and a lot of the different shit, now it's time for me to really hunker down and get to work on the shit that I need to work on, So yeah, there have been just things that have disrupted me this week that I found it hard to recover from. And also this weekend I'm shooting a film. I'm not shooting the film. I'm an actor in this film, in this sizzle reel, which, for those of you who don't know that term, it's think of it like a slightly longer trailer, and instead of it being a trailer cut from a movie, because in the movie setting they film the whole movie and then they cut a trailer from the footage that they have to look really good, to entice people in to come watch the movie. This is a trailer shot just for the sake of shooting a trailer, so that you can go around and pitch this to bigger companies to try and get money and funding to shoot the entire project of it. So I'm kind of signed on to a project with an old friend of mine who used to live here, that I used to do independent film with, and yeah, it's been a hectic week. It's been a hectic week without it being a hectic week. Like, when it comes down to it, right? Because I can make excuses. Right now, all I've done for the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, is just say the reasons why I couldn't do the things that I did. But when I look back, there was totally time. There was totally time for me to do it. Had I prioritized better, had I woken up earlier, had I just been better at doing the shit that I knew that I needed to do, I wouldn't be in this situation. But here's the punchline, because I said at the beginning that this wasn't going to just be a huge shit fest of me talking about how I fucked up, right? Here's the thing. I'm beginning to see how much I'm required when I am self-employed, right? How important it is for myself to give myself some self-love. And I'm not talking about masturbating. I'm talking about just being okay with understanding that, I fucked up this week, that things got away from me, that I could have been better, but not getting down on myself, because attacking myself and being like, you're a piece of shit, like, that inner talk is not going to fucking help me. What's going to help me is me sitting down and strategically, right, saying, how the fuck do I now make next week much better? So here's what I've been doing. Here's my thought process, right? I took a test called the Hexaco test, HEXACO, I believe, and I would love to share my findings with you. I listened to I went on a kick last night and stayed up till like almost 1 or 2 in the morning, listening to one of my most influential people that I watch on YouTube and watch on like Instagram, all that shit. Like his name is Gary Vaynerchuk. If you're not familiar with him, you should check him out because he's really fucking cool. He's all about grinding. He's all about working hard. He's all about practicality and self-awareness, and a lot of the shit that I preach because not just because he said it, but because I've lived a lot of what he's talked about, and I understand exactly how important what he's talking about is. So through his videos, I stumbled onto a guy named Tai Lopez, who you probably have heard of more. He's a little more what's the word I'm looking for? He's a little more famous, I guess. Tai Lopez is. I think he's like an entrepreneur. He spent a lot of money into advertising and ads so that people could understand and know who he is and what he does. And he mentioned this thing called the Hexaco test, which shows you a list of, I don't know, this is like 25 different things that on a scale of 1 through 5, and shows the percentile of like where people kind of are on the scale of it all, right? So 3 is average, but not only that, it shows the average median score of anybody who's taken the test before. So it's very interesting, and the results I got back were pretty interesting too, because I scored 5. I scored the highest score you can on 4 things. So let's see, altruism is one of them, which is this scale assesses a tendency to be sympathetic and soft-hearted towards others. High scores avoid causing harm and react with generosity towards those who are weak or in need of help, whereas low scores are not upset by the prospect of hurting others. So I care, which is cool to know. It's like a 100-question test. So I scored a 5 in altruism, which is pretty cool. I'm happy about that. I scored a 5 in creativity, which they put as this scale assesses one's preference for innovation and experiment. Low scores have little inclination for original thought, whereas high scores actively seek new solutions for problems and express themselves in art, which I think I agree with, which is pretty cool. Diligence, this is the big one that I really enjoyed. Diligence scale assesses a tendency to work hard. Low scorers have little self-discipline and are not strongly motivated to achieve, whereas high scorers have a strong work ethic and are willing to exert themselves. So I believe that is true also. I think that is 100% what I'm about and why I've gotten where I've gotten. The last one is pretty interesting too. It is fairness. The fairness scale assesses a tendency to avoid fraud and corruption. Low scores are willing to gain by cheating or stealing, whereas high scores are unwilling to take advantage of other individuals or society at large. So pretty proud of the things that I scored high in. Of the things I could max out in, that's pretty cool. Here's the problem. Here's the big problem that I'm finding is that Ty also talked about. He said that diligence. Everybody thinks that that's the most important thing to get to where you want to be, and I think that is extremely important. Right? It's an extremely important thing to be able to work hard and go hard for what you want. But he said that's one of 4 core principles, and one of 4 things that you really need. He said diligence is one of 4. He said the others are organization, perfectionism, and prudence. Prudence? Is that the right? Prudence, yes. So, and on those three, I did not score well. That's a bit of an understatement. So for perfectionism, organization, I scored a 2.5, which is below average. It's not below. Yeah, it is. It's pretty below average in the grand scheme of things. It is the median for the entirety is 3.38, and I scored a 2.5. So I'm almost a whole point below where that should be. For perfectionism, 3.63. I scored a 2.5. And all of these numbers are pretty arbitrary. I mean, what do they really mean in the grand scheme of things? Prudence, I scored a 3.25, which is a little bit, like, slightly above average, but not great. So let's go over that, right? Let's go over what this all means. And this is a test that's for free. You can go and take it online, and a lot of people have sworn by it, more so than the Myers-Briggs, INFP, and all that shit, that this is a pretty good indicator of all of these different things, right? So organization scale assesses a tendency to seek order, particularly in one's physical surroundings. Low scores tend to be sloppy and haphazard. Sorry, I burped. Whereas high scores keep things tidy and prefer a structured approach to tasks. So that's not me. I do not score high on that, and it's my improvisational nature, right? Perfectionism, which I've always thought of as a bad thing, but this is how they judge it. Perfectionism scale assesses a tendency to be thorough and concerned with details. Low scorers tolerate some errors in their work and tend to neglect details, whereas high scorers check carefully for mistakes and potential improvements. So there's a trap. There's a trap, I feel like, with perfectionism that improv helps solve. So I am consistently telling people that done is better than perfect, things of that nature. But I think that where I'm failing, right, where I am failing overall is just the idea of what I talked about last week, strategic action over just action, right? So perfectionism, I'd say, would fall under strategic action and how good I'm going to be at striving for the perfection of what it is that I do. So there's a fault for people who fall into the perfectionism, and it halts them from doing anything because they want it to be perfect. But there is a place for that also, because to be successful, you also want to be able to put that gear in. And I don't think that that's a gear that I've thought about a lot, which I need to start doing. Like this podcast was started because I wasn't a perfectionist. This podcast was started because I said I'm gonna fucking figure it out as I go along. But really, have I changed much? Have I done a whole lot of research into how the podcast? I there's ways I can make this better. So now that I've started, I can start strategically doing things to make this better. I haven't clipped a lot of this stuff and put it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which I know that I should, and I've known for a while. Like, that's the perfectionism aspect of it. So for me not to do that, that's a big shame. That's a big shame because I'm leaving attention on the table, and I'm saying, I'm just gonna keep doing it. But that's the diligence in me. I keep saying if I work hard, then good things are gonna happen, which is true. But if I work smart and hard, then I'm unstoppable, right? Which leads me to prudence. Prudence, which I had to look up. I didn't know the meaning of this word. So the prudence scale assesses a tendency to deliberate carefully and to inhibit impulses. I'm going to say that one more time. A tendency to deliberate carefully and to inhibit impulses. Low scorers act on impulse and tend not to consider consequences, whereas high scorers consider their options carefully and tend to be cautious and self-controlled. That's interesting to me because that again is improv. I'm teaching most people because I feel like most people fall into prudence, perfectionism, organization to a point that it halts them. That it halts them from the shit that they actually want to do, and from so I've lived now up to this point on the opposite scale of that, saying perfectionism, that only slows people down, right? Organization, I'll get there when I get there, right? Prudence, making the right decision. I'm an impulse guy. If I follow my gut, then things are going to work out the way that they're going to work out. And now I'm beginning to see that for my next step in my growth, right? The next step for me has to be addressing these things. I got to get more organized. I know it. I know it. I've known it. I just gotta. In my business, in my finances, all of the shit that I've been talking about, that's organization. That's organization and perfectionism, me paying attention to details, to the smaller details, which I tend to overlook for the greater good of the big picture, right? I keep seeing the bigger picture and not addressing the smaller details. So, was it good to go out and meet with those people that I needed to meet with for future revenue? Yes. Is it good now to start this business that in, 5 to 10 years for corporate training that I can then, build up and then take a step back away from and be making money while this machine is turning, and then outsourcing the corporate training out to other people? Yeah, that's worth it, right? Is it worth it at the expense of me not doing shit this week and failing, quote unquote, failing at auditioning at the marketing that I needed to fucking do, that I know that I need to fucking do? No, I need to organize better. I need to focus on details better. I won't call it perfectionism. I'll call it focusing on the smaller details of what it is, but most importantly, prudence. Which, again, scale assesses a tendency to deliberate carefully and to inhibit impulses. I am bad at impulse control. That's why I'm fucking fat. That's why. That's the exact reason. I'm driving by a fucking McDonald's. I want some McDonald's. Boom. I'm in McDonald's. If I'm hungry. Whatever. It's that simple. So I'm seeing now that I need to change that. What am I going to do to change that, you might be asking? Here is my thought. I need to find a quantifiable way to track my prudence. And in order to do that, I have downloaded a clicker app on my phone. A free app that just lets me click. Plus or minus, right? Just like a physical clicker, I add one, I can subtract one. And it just gives me a number at the end of the day. They don't know what that number means, but for me, what it is each choice that I have, right? Each choice that I have in the day to do the right thing or to do the wrong thing, that's most important in that period of time. I'm going to add one for every choice that I make the right decision. I'm going to subtract one for every choice that I make the wrong decision. What do I mean by that? I got home. I wanted to watch some Netflix. But I also knew that I needed to get this podcast out as quick as possible. So I got my podcast. I'm doing it right now. I didn't make a bad decision in doing something that was a time waster, and so I added one. Tonight I have the class, and I said that I need to be better at organization, better at perfectionism. So I said, okay, I'm going to write out the specifics of what I'm going to do for this class so that I can be better, so that I can make this class more worth it and give more value to people that are taking this class, so that they will maybe in the future take another class from me again because they like the way that I teach and they like what I bring, right? I think the nature of me is really good at just going off the cuff, and I think that that's a big strength for me. But I gotta work on the other side of it. So I did that. Boom, another +1. I was supposed to wake up at 6 a.m. this morning. I did not wake up till I slept in. I felt like shit, honestly. I didn't feel good physically. I don't know why. I think I've been a little bit under the weather for the past couple days, or maybe I've been a little sleep deprived. Anyways, I slept until like 1 p.m. which I did not. It's not good. It's not a good, like, I'm willing to admit this to you, right? And I'm laughing, but that's awful. That's horrible. It's a weekday still. There's shit that I could be doing. There's other shit that I could be doing. Better shit that I should have been doing for that whole 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's fucking 7 hours. That's 7 fucking hours. I mean, I didn't get to bed till probably 2 or 3 in the morning. So I was I was trying to push myself to wake up earlier than I probably knew I should have. But still, that's not good. So I subtracted 1 from that. I knew I should have made some food this morning, and I didn't make food this morning, so I subtracted 1. I went out and got some Subway. When I got the Subway, I could have gotten something fattier, like meatballs, but I didn't. I got the sweet chicken teriyaki, whatever, under whatever calories, with wheat and, all just veggies and all that shit. And I only got a 6-inch as opposed to 12-inch. That's a good decision, because if I'm going to be eating some bad shit, then I might as well be eating some bad shit that's going to be better for me. I didn't go to McDonald's. I didn't go to some other fucking place that, just would mess me up. So, boom, plus 1 for that. And I'm going to continue doing this, and adding up my scores at the end of the day to see how I can track my prudence. And I think that this is a good way to do it. If you have a better way, if you have a way to track how good your prudence is, then please let me know, because I'd love to explore that. But for me right now, this is the simple way, the simple version for me to do it. Now, this week has been rough, for no reason, for no good reason, and it's been painful. It's been painful to go through it and be like, why the fuck am I not doing this? But it's through it, I'm learning and trying something new, trying something different. Giving more strategy to the way that I live my life and the way that I go about doing things. So it's not a total loss, in my opinion. It's not a loss. This is something that I can now take and improve on. And that's where I struggle. I struggle with the self-love part, because I go straight to fuck you, you're a piece of shit. Like that's a big part of the way I was raised. That's a big part of my upbringing and just living in the world and being, you could say being Asian, I guess, with a perfectionist mindset and all of this stuff. Like, but I'm getting there. I'm getting to the self-love part, because I'm grateful. I'm just so grateful and so happy that I'm in the position that I'm in. Like, I'm in the position where I can start changing shit around, and where my ability to change shit around is going to directly influence my income and my what's the word I want to use? My success will be charted by how well I do and how much I choose to work, right? And how smart I choose to work. So bottom line is, I guess, I feel like I have no problem working hard. The hexacode test was kind of cool to reinforce that. But then on the flip side of it, I'm also seeing that I have to work smarter. I have to work much, much smarter. And I haven't been. Like, I've known that I had to, and I haven't been. So prudence is the next big step for me. I think organization, sure. Organization is going to be a big part for me too. I'm much better than I was before, but that still leaves something to be desired. So yeah, I woke up feeling bad. I woke up not feeling good. I woke up feeling like, oh crap. And you know what? Just the universe works in a weird way, in a strange fucking crazy way, in that I woke up this morning to tweets at me, a couple messages about how the video that I was talking about, I worked with Ryan Higa on YouTube, one of the biggest YouTubers of all time, just the OG for sure, a few weeks back, like a month back maybe. And his video came out today, and the behind the scenes had me in it. And it was cool. It was fun. It was really nice. And holy shit, like to have a week where it feels like I didn't accomplish anything, and to struggle with the idea that I'm still doing stuff and I'm still working, and that 1 week doesn't define the rest of my life, right? This is 1 week out of 1,000, hopefully, hopefully more than 1,000. I don't know the math of that. Is that how many? Anyways, that doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. it was like a sign. It was like a weird sign that, that I've been working hard and I've been doing more than I've realized, and while there's still more I can do, I can't let one bad week fucking just let me funnel into, spiral into some terrible shit, right? Spiral into a depression or something, right? Or an anxiousness, which I'm prey to. I've suffered from those in the past. I've suffered from anxiety. I've suffered from depression, and it's not fun. That shit's not fun. So I'm constantly trying to do better, and be better, and do the shit that I need to do, like making more content especially. Now that I saw that, I was like, fuck, I need to make more content. Because people are, I went to the video to see the BTS, and it was fun. It was funny. People left comments, and somebody was like, "Oh, I'm glad that there's another fat guy, and that you guys." And he was like, "Represent." Like he said it as a joke. So I wrote back, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm happy to represent for fat guys everywhere." Somebody said something that made me laugh so fucking hard, and it wasn't mean spirited. It was just like matter of fact, and I was like, oh my god, that's so true. She was like, the new guy looks like the chicken man from Toy Story 2, if you haven't seen it, it's so bad. Like it's one of the worst comparisons you could make to a human being, but I was like, she's spot on. She was like, yeah, the Asian version. So I said something back to her like, oh, that guy's way cooler than I am. But yeah, it's cool. So, and I need to figure out if me helping Ryan, which I think would be really cool, is something that's going to help me long term, and I think that it is. I think that it's an opportunity almost no one in the entire universe will ever have, like that just popped into my lap. So I think I need to expand my circle. I think I need to expand my circle to these people that are kicking ass in this other realm, in this other way, and I think ultimately that's going to help me out a ton, like a shit ton. So yeah, I am just in this good place. I want to keep on being positive, but at the same time, it's not just about positivity. It's about me also feeling the burn of this past week and letting that affect me so that I be better next week. Like it's all of the things, and me gaining more self-awareness through each interaction that I have. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what else more there is to say. It's been a good week. It's been a week. It's been a fruitful week, even though I didn't do as much as I know that I fucking should have. But it's a week that I'm learning something from. So there's that. I'm not at a point where I'm not anywhere close to a point where I would have been like, 10 years ago, where this type of week would have destroyed me and I would have been like, wow, I'm just a piece of shit. Like I'm not in that mode anymore. I'm beginning to see how I think and be able to attack it and be really strong with where I come from once I start getting into, you know what I mean? Like how to prevent that type of thinking and how to get better at positivity and constructive thinking. So yeah, in about a half an hour, I'm going to go to CrossFit. Right after that, I'm going to be going to class. So when I go to CrossFit, I'm going to add another one because I should be going there. But yeah, seeing my scores, I think at the end of the day, is something that I need to fucking do. So yeah. Let's do a commercial. Let's do a fake commercial. Also, let me know what you thought of Madeline and of this past week's Wacky Wednesdays, or let me know what you're thinking of the podcast. If you're still with me, if you're still not, I mean, we're on we're approaching episode 20 now. So if you're still with me, thank you. The numbers have not really dropped. The numbers are increasing. So that's pretty cool. I gotta keep working to make sure that those numbers keep increasing. Just the same thing I was talking about. Just getting clips and putting them out. Like I said, went to Subway. Hey, this improvised commercial is on me. Do you enjoy not only great tasting sandwiches, but fast service and low prices? Well, have I got a deal for you. Leaning closer, let me whisper it in your ear. Subway, they have the best sandwiches for under $6. That's right. And now you can even get a 6-inch sub meal for $5.99. That's right. I need to sneeze. $5.99 for a 6-inch sandwich, all and a side of drink and a side of chips for only $5.99. That sounds crazy. I'm gonna stop whispering in your ear now. Yeah, I kissed your ear. I hope you enjoyed it. Subway, eat fresh. Don't think about Jared. That was a long time ago. All right, Subway, that one's on me. I also need to pee, so let me make this short. Thank you so much for listening. I super fucking appreciate it. I super do. If you enjoyed this episode, drop me a comment. Let me know. That's all. I don't want your money. I don't want nothing. I just want to know what you think of this so that I can keep going forward. I'm starting to understand that this is like a weirdly motivational podcast, even though I talk about how much I fuck up a lot. And that's weirdly motivational to people. So that type of insight really helps me out with where I want to take the next episodes, shit like that. Somebody told me that they enjoyed the funny commercials that I do. That helped me out a lot. Your voice, especially in this early process right now, your voice is going to help me figure out how to better make this podcast the types of things that you're interested in. Even if you hate what I'm doing, even if you hate the direction that I'm going in, let me know. Let me know that so that I can take that into account too. What you say is like it gives me fucking energy. All of that shit gives me so much fucking energy. And thank you so much for those of you who do reach out. Like, some of you reach out every single episode, and that's fucking cool as hell. So thank you. I love you guys so much. Thank you yet again for another episode, for listening to yet another episode of the Brent Mukai podcast. I will see you next week. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye-bye.